and welcome back to this tutorial series where we are going over the various settings within Fantasy Grounds Unity in relation to configuring a given campaign. In this short video, we are going to cover the next extension type called themes, as you can see down here. And much like the themes for other things like your cell phone or a web browser, it allows you to change the appearance of the Fantasy Grounds Unity interface once the application has loaded. Unlike other extensions, however, themes are structured in a way to work with almost any rule set that you have chosen to use, but that won't always be the case. If you select through the various rule sets that are listed, however, you will see that most, if not all of the themes that you might have installed are available, no matter what rule set you have chosen. However, there is a limitation in play here. You can only have one theme active at a particular point in time. Even if you select multiple themes, the last one you select out of the list that you have selected will be the one that gets used. I don't know if that is actually a bug or a feature that SmiteWorks just hadn't considered might happen, but that's how this particular extension works for the time being. So you might be asking, what does a theme actually do? Well, I can show you by loading a couple of examples. And unlike my previous videos where I literally loaded all of the themes that I had loaded at the time, I'm only going to show you a couple of them this time just to give you an idea of what actually changes. But before I get on to that, I just want to cover a last few points. At the time of this recording, any theme you choose will also be displayed to any player connected to your system, allowing you to be the one to set a given theme, therefore set a specific mood that you might be wanting to portray to your players. For example, if you're looking to run the Curse of Strahd campaign, a theme that leans heavily towards the Gothic feel may allow your players to connect more to the ambiance of the overall campaign visually and even emotionally. Now, by default, if no theme is selected, you're going to get something that looks like this, and this is the default theme that Fantasy Grounds makes use of whenever you load that up. It kind of gives a bit of a rustic bookbinding feeling here due to the fact that you've got a faux leather background as well as a binding wire or string wrapping around the actual window itself. But a given theme can change things like the tabletop of the background, which is the big blank space that you see there. The wrappings of the various windows that you can open, as well as the button styles and a multitude of little things to ensure that your experience within Fantasy Grounds is something that you can enjoy. I personally like the Dungeons & Dragons official theme because it's reasonably clean, allows me to organize my windows fairly compactly, and essentially gives me almost maximum real estate for my total desktop size. And that is really my main concern when I'm actively running a game. And it really gives me the means to organize all of my windows in a way that I need them to be in order to be efficient while running a campaign. There were others that also existed for Fantasy Grounds Classic that provided an even cleaner appearance and even more tightly grouped windows, but I don't believe all of them have been updated for Fantasy Grounds Unity or have not yet caught up to all of the little things that now makes up a theme. But there are two that have been kept relatively up to date, and they are the Simple Brown and Simple Gray themes, which the one I'm showing here is the Simple Gray. And it's another theme that I like to use periodically, especially when I'm running a campaign where I need a lot more windows that I normally won't have open all the time. And when you consider that I use three 24-inch monitors for my campaign setup and stretch Fantasy Grounds Unity across all three monitors, you can see how I can really fill up that level of real estate when I'm running a campaign. And the differences between the Dungeons & Dragons one and this one actually equals to about 2 or 3 additional windows because I don't have to worry about that top dragon indicator at the top or the tail that appears at the bottom right side of the corner. Now, it is also possible to pick up additional themes through the Fantasy Grounds and Steam marketplaces as well as within the Fantasy Grounds forums. And with the recent addition, relatively recent addition of Joshua Watmo, and hopefully I pronounced that name well, I apologize if I have not, Joshua, there is a larger selection that has been added to the marketplace that you can then purchase and make use of. Now, not all themes are part of the marketplace. The Hearth theme that you see here by Sir Moat was initially provided through the Fantasy Grounds forums, but is now moved to the Fantasy Grounds Forge site so that it can be pulled down automatically through the Fantasy Grounds Updater utility. But in general, the theme is going to be something that you yourself are going to want to choose because it's going to set the mood that you're going to want to present to your players. So they're all really just there for personal selection. You could just go with the default theme if you don't feel that that's important. Doesn't really much matter. Now, lastly, it is possible to create your own custom themes that can be used in any of your campaigns. And over the last while, the details around doing that have been slowly changing to keep up with the current requirements of a given theme. I'm not going to go into any detail there because I don't have the experience with crafting my own theme, so I really don't have all of the information that would be required to do that. But what I will do is include the current links that are available for reference for anyone who might be interested. And if you do want to get involved in crafting your own themes and are kind of stuck and curious, you could always communicate through the forums or through the Fantasy Grounds Discord servers that are available and provided by Smiteworks. However, due to the level of changes that are currently going through the theme system now in the interface, please let me know in the comments below if one of the links has gone dead, and I will be sure to look at making sure that they get updated. And that is really everything that I can cover around the theme system for the time being, so let's go ahead and move on to the next topic.